The main power is brain power, so science and knowledge management is important to Switzerland. And China, as one of the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India and China, is as well a priority for Swiss foreign policy. So swissnex is an instrument for promoting Switzerland as a main hub for science and collaboration and technology worldwide. And it has to promote Switzerland in foreign countries. We are a network. There are swissnex in the US, in Singapore. We have one now, luckily in China, in Shanghai, and one in India, in Bangalore, should be opened next year. We are a joint initiative. We are financed by the government and by two departments, one for Interior, for Science and Technology, but also for the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs. So we do combine the two worlds. It is the science and it is the diplomacy, which I think is a very interesting mixture to do the diplomacy and the science. Swiss universities, there was a survey 2 years ago, they all named China as one of their priority countries. So the focus from the United States has a little bit shifted towards East and mainly towards China. And last but certainly not least, many Swiss companies with a large R&D facilities are based now in China, and they have a need for well-trained Chinese and Swiss staff. So why going to China? And I was actually looking for a good image, and I just thought about the arrow pointing up, because everything is pointing up in science and technology in China. I mean, the budget China is spending, you know that better than I do, has grown every year for about 20% what is invested in science and technology. You have more PhD students than the US. You're really a high-ranking outputter of scientific papers. China has, it seems to me, very clever homecoming politics. So people studying abroad, they find nowadays good incentives to go back home to China. And now, why Shanghai, why not Beijing? It was important for us, and all swissnex actually are in locations where you really have the combination of business, academia and research. So swissnex are always in economic centers. They're never in the capital city where the main interest is politics. They really want to be close to the business, to the technological transfer, but also to a hub of academic research. And Shanghai does really fulfill all these conditions very well. So what is our mandate, really? Our mandate is to promote Switzerland as one of the world leaders in science, technology and innovation. There was this survey this spring, and when you ask Chinese people what do they know about Switzerland, certainly not science and technology came to their mind. They all have a very good idea of Switzerland. They like Switzerland. It does produce positive feelings. But when you ask the Chinese people, innovation, forward-looking, does this connect with Switzerland? They mostly say no. And it is really one of the tasks of swissnex Shanghai to change this. We do coordinate the Sino-Swiss Science and Technology Cooperation Program, and Margrit Leuthard is here. ETH Zurich is the leading house for this program. I will talk about this a little bit later. We do support Swiss universities in their activities in China mainly, but we can also be of help to Chinese universities. We want to build up, and this is also a reason why I'm here, is a network of brilliant young Chinese and Swiss scientists for bottom-up cooperation, also not only for top-down research programs, but really cooperations that start somewhere in a lab. And we would like to identify business partners and facilitate tech transfer from the universities into the market. But this is more long-term tool to increase the human resource pool for Swiss industry in China. Like you're obviously very great candidates for jobs in Swiss companies and industry in China, because you know both worlds. You know China, that's your home country, you have studied or lived in Switzerland, so you know the culture here as well. So what are the challenges for an institution like Swissnex is, as I said, to make the point about innovation and forward-looking in Switzerland, that we're really doing cutting-edge technology research, that we're really one of the most important countries when it comes to innovation. Then the second point is really the visibility in the limited resources in a very big country. China is huge, we're very small, the resources are limited, and other countries are very, very professional competitors. When we do compare what the Swiss government is investing, for example, compared to Germany, then it is a very humble number. Another thing is the very complex organization of ST, of Science, Technology, Innovation and Higher Education in China, but not only in China. We're a very complex country too. We're a federalistically organized country, so one canton doesn't really want to do the same thing as the other one. When you look at the chart of the organization of higher education, it's hardly comprehensible here in Switzerland. Another challenge is the sponsoring. We are mandated to fund ourselves by 2/3 with third-party funding. It sounds like a research project, and in particular nowadays, in the situation of this global financial crisis, it's really hard to find money. You know that as well, so this is a challenge. Last but not least, to bridge the two different worlds, as you do also in your daily life here, while keeping a strong Swiss identity in China, but also respecting what the Chinese culture is asking for, is sometimes a challenge as well. But what are the strong points about Swissnex? I think it's a very unique concept to have this science diplomacy hub somewhere. I think we have an excellent product to promote. I think Switzerland is a very good product, particularly in types of higher education and research. We have a great research program which is supported by the two governments. This is a bilateral agreement that is really more than paper. People will start doing research within the next month. We have a good image and we have a good reputation, and right now, because we are in between the Olympic Games and we are just have the Expo ahead of us, there are other important Swiss institutions who are very active in China. It is the China Country Program by Present Switzerland. Swissnex is also a member of the steering group of the Expo Pavilion. Dr. Wagner is participating in the steering group as well, where we really plan how Switzerland wants to present itself at the Expo, and also Flavia, which does promote Swiss culture, is very active here as well. So there are some synergies we'd like to profit from. This is how it looks like. I hope you will visit at some point and see our whole premises. So the main 3 points is to promote Switzerland, to connect the people, and once they're connected, to facilitate their interaction. We're always asked, we are Switzerland's outpost for science, technology and culture, so we're asked why culture. Culture for us is an instrument. We don't really promote Swiss culture, but we use cultural events because culture does sometimes there's bigger visibility to things. It does sometimes produce interest and it helps the comprehension. Science and technologies are sometimes rather dry, rather complex issues, and so through a cultural event you might actually might be easier to explain what is really the sense and the content of a research project. And we do collaborate there with Helvetia. Here, just as an intermission, the gallery, because at the very end it's really about people meeting at Swissnex, and it is people from different backgrounds. We have here there on the top, we had a lecture by Bertrand Piccard about his solar airplane he wants to fly around the world, and we had there representatives from the solar tech industry from China. You saw